Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Sorry I'm a little late this week with this video. I just wanted to check in at the end of Module 3.1. Now that we've read Rachel St. John's Line in the Sand, I enjoyed the conversations that we all had on the discussion board and on Mastodon. Um, Again, I was a little late to those this week, so my apologies there. Thank you for excellent questions. You've all done a really good job of asking open-ended questions that lead to good conversations and good responses. Do remember that your response posts need to include specific references to the reading to support and develop your ideas. Um, but otherwise, I enjoyed Rachel St. John's book, and I'm glad you all did as well. I used it a lot as I was working on my dissertation, which has now become my book manuscript that will be published with Nebraska this year. And I promise not to become insufferable about this, but I just got my um, flyer from the publisher about my book, so I'll share it here below the video in this announcement and give you more information if you're interested. It is directly related to this class. So hopefully you're interested in taking a look at that later this year when it comes out. Um, let's see. In terms of those of you in the graduate student section of the class who also read Porous Borders by Julian Lim, I chose those to go together because they have some chronological overlap and they do very different things methodologically, even though they end up using similar sources in some instances. And so, again, Julian Lim is looking at how legal categories define race, uh, kind of compared to the social realities on the ground in El Paso and Ciudad Juarez. And of course, we know Rachel St. John is looking at the entire western border from El Paso over to the Pacific Ocean in terms of how it was actually laid out on the ground and what that meant for the people who were living there. So indigenous peoples did populate that area, but there weren't a lot of settlers in that area. So there were not many settlements, as we read about, on the western border until the border itself was drawn. The border created a draw for settlements to take shape and gave a reason for there to be settlements in a very arid, kind of remote stretch of North America. So the border itself helped to shape that history and those patterns of settlement. Um, let's see. I think that's mostly what I wanted to say. I wanted to keep this kind of brief and to the point. I look forward to your blog posts about these books, and I've been looking ahead a little bit to the Borderlands Curanderos book by Jennifer Seaman. I hadn't assigned that one in this class previously, so I'm interested to see how you all, from your perspective as students, engage with that one and what you think of it. It's a little bit different look at border cultures than we've had thus far because it looks at faith traditions and how those created spaces for revolutionary movements, amongst other things, social movements, excuse me, between the late 1880s and the first decade of the 20th century. I promise I'll get over this cold someday. It just doesn't seem to be going away completely. One other thing I wanted to mention, just if you're interested, there's a book by C.J. Alvarez called Borderland, Border Water, and it looks at the border as a construction site. So even to a greater extent than Rachel St. John, Alvarez's work, um, again, literally considers the border as a construction site and gets into the ways that facilities were built that would help to channel and regulate the flow of the Rio Grande, as well as how um, different projects relative to border stations and border walls were created. So his looks at the Boundary Commission's work kind of since the time that Rachel St. John's book covers. So after the 1930s, when kind of larger scale construction projects took place to define the border. So again, if you're interested in that type of construction, do check out Borderland, Border Waters by C.J. Alvarez.
And I apologize. I got a phone call there. I'm sure you noticed the splicing of these video clips was not great. But got a phone call and had it cut into my video recording because it's connected to my computer. So anyway, thanks for listening to this. As always, please let me know if you have any questions or if you need any help with anything. I'm here for that, and I will talk to you soon.